Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Is the tall man back?
Yes.
Are his balls back?
Yep.
What about the evil Jawas?
Absolutely.
Let's go!
Yeah. Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I am your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig, and this week we're doing a sequel to a movie that we didn't review that long ago, the first one.
Which I hadn't seen until not that long ago.
In our set of 4 that I can't believe we hadn't seen it in so long. Like,
I don't remember what it was. Was it that?
Something like that, I think. We did Phantasm, but
we did do
it also
Phantasm.
fits this topic. It's our second of 4 movies that involve an alternate reality or alternate universe somewhere in it.
Oh my goodness. It's only the second one.
Yeah, this is only the second one of that. And for those who haven't seen the first one, this one's not going to make a lot of sense. So
It probably won't make any sense.
no matter what, this is a direct continuation off of the first one. So, like, definitely don't watch this before that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the basic premise is the kid from the first one that saw that there was a mortician who was digging up bodies and making them into his dead slave things in an, like, he would take them to what looks like a red planet, like a Mars kind of thing, and
just
makes
have
them like little mini slave
things.
You know, somehow that happens. Yeah. It's more of that. His house gets destroyed, and he's on a mission to go from town to town trying to find this tall man. And it's 10 years later, and he's destroyed a few towns. And every time he does, these guys, him and his guardian, basically find him.
Yeah,
and it's their battle. So it's directly related to the first one. Anything else about the story? I mean, he's still got metal flying balls that have spikes that come out of them
and
stab you.
Is back.
And this time there's the golden sphere.
Golden sphere.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. But yeah, that's basically.
I mean, if you
need to
have
know.
seen the first one,
Then definitely,
it's a lot of that again.
yeah, it's more of that story.
Like, if you want that,
it is. And why don't we show people the trailer and then they can see for themselves.
Shout Factory TV, changing the channel.
Phantasm, the delusion of a disordered mind, a phantom, a spirit, a ghost. For 10 years, the secret of Perigord Cemetery has remained a mystery. Now, 3 innocent people are about to discover the ultimate evil.
You think that when you die, you go to heaven. You come to us.
We've got to warn people. This summer, the ball is back. Phantasm 2.
It's only a dream.
It's a dream.
No, it's not.
Well, all right. Yeah, for a second it started with the same stuff as the first trailer.
Yeah,
and it's
the
like,
first
no.
trailer had phantasm, and then the definition of a phantasm.
Yeah, so for a second he's like, is this the wrong one? It's not. It was the right one. It would have been his own fault. He's the one that sends it to the producer to have it be linked
Yeah, that's
to the,
right.
and put in the show.
I do some work.
He barely, like,
I found a trailer.
Yeah, good for him. He types in the name of a movie and the word trailer into not Google, into YouTube. Whew. Boy, he must sweat. Anyway, here's the serious thing that we have to get to, though. We are here to make money. We're not just here to talk about horror movies. We use that as an excuse to make money. And how do we do that? Well, we pitch these products that actually exist to our tens of fans.
Tens of fans.
And, that they pay us for that because that's
Why wouldn't
a
they?
value to them.
Them? They?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who. It's different every week, so like it's not even like one conglomerate. But anyway, this week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by the Big Book of Obvious Entendres. Are you writing comedic sketches, parody lyrics, or fake commercials based on pop culture? Do you enjoy making things sound dirty using double entendres? Then the Big Book of Obvious Entendres is for you. Each chapter gives you dozens of words by category that sound clean and dirty at the same time. The Big Book of Obvious Entendres. Read it out loud to give those around you oral pleasure.
And by My Little Dead Servant Making Kit. This kit allows you to turn dead bodies into your own personal army of zombies. Don't want to clean your room? Bring back Grandma and have her do it. Want a garden without the toil and labor?
Keep going.
Make your own crew to plant, grow, care for, and harvest crops. And after each season, use their bodies to fertilize the ground next season. My Little Dead Servant Making Kit, because calling them slaves in 2023 is wrong.
Correct. All right. Now,
What was all that?
a side conversation that you weren't part of.
Unacceptable.
Yes.
Talking over my show.
Did you hear a word? Then
I
it's
wouldn't
not
have
talking.
stopped.
Anyway, so now we're going to get into the behind the scenes, or as Jason likes to call it, the meat and beef of the show.
Or as I like to call it, the meat and beef of the show.
And you want to go first?
Sure. The film's $3 million budget was 10 times larger than that of Phantasm and the biggest one in the entire series. Yet this was the lowest budgeted film Universal produced in the entire 80s.
Dude. The beginning sequence involving an entire house exploding in flames was filmed using a real house that was in the way for a California 105 freeway construction. The production company bought the house for $500 from the state of California on the condition they would move it from the site. And I guess destroying it and then taking away the lumber
Just
counted.
vaporizing it and scooping it up.
Anyway.
Lori Loughlin, who was Aunt Becky on Full House, played young Mike at the beginning of the movie, which picks up directly after the first Phantasm film. Loughlin was only seen from behind.
See, it wasn't creepy that you kept going, I don't know, Mike's butt looks better than I expected. Reggie Banister did his own stunts for the film, except when he had to jump over the chainsaw. They wouldn't let him do that.
Which one played who's Reggie?
He's the
new Mike?
Oh, no.
He's the old guy?
Yeah, the older guy that was taking care of Mike.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
when he
Yeah.
was being chased and he jumped over the... That's the only thing he didn't do.
Brad Pitt auditioned for the role of older Mike.
Reggie Banister's wife was on set the day Banister's love scene with Samantha Phillips was shot. That had to be comfortable.
In the scene showing one of the tall man's henchmen smashing bone fragments with a hammer to be mixed with ashes and placed in an urn, the cremated remains are funneled into a bag labeled Mr. Sam Raimi. During production, director Sam Raimi made an appearance at a shoot for Phantasm 2.
Reggie Banister had quit acting for the 9 years between Phantasm 1 and Phantasm 2. He worked for a time at a funeral home, assisting in embalming bodies. That's odd.
Awful,
coincidence.
honestly. One of the headstones in the film bears the name Alex Murphy, a reference to RoboCop.
This is the first entry to feature the biggest, most destructive, and deadliest kind of sphere, the Gold Sphere. It's armed with a laser and pursues Mike and Liz through several doors and kills an Undertaker, drilling into his body from the back and into his mouth, out through his mouth.
Oh, yeah. The scene in which Father Myers has one of his ears cut off by a sphere was shot by having the actor lying on a table with the camera lying on its side, giving the appearance of standing upright. The sphere was then dropped by his head, and the fake ear appliance was pulled off his head with a monofilament,
like
sure,
a thin string,
by the FX crew.
The ear sequence ended up having to be filmed twice because the key scene of the sphere passing by his head and the ear being cut off occurred in that split second between frames on the first take. So they had to do it again because it missed the actual ripping. It was that split second that it was between frames.
So it was just suddenly gone.
Yep.
Shoot.
So they had to do a second take.
Metal band White Zombie included a sample of the tall man's line, you think that when you die you go to heaven, you come to us, on the song Disaster Blaster 2 off their God of Thunder EP.
A love scene between Liz and Mike, with them appearing in different locations throughout, was filmed. But it was cut from the final version of the movie because it really didn't work.
That's weird. For the filming of the prologue sequence, Reggie Banister dyed his hair black in order to look as young as he was during the last scene of Phantasm.
And he did match pretty well.
I did not notice at all. So
we thought that they must have had extra footage from the first one that they used. We didn't realize it was doubled up
and some other person in a suit to dress like Mike from behind.
I mean, someone that became famous, actually. But anyway, okay, a special version of the final dialogue was filmed exclusively for the trailer and TV spots, set inside the mausoleum instead of the hearse. This way, the dialogue could be featured in advertising and not spoil the ending of the film. That's why the trailer showed it differently. Yeah.
The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops greatly objected upon the movie's release, labeling it morally offensive. Really? Turns out the demon guy is not a good role model.
The first Phantasm film in the series to be distributed by Universal Pictures.
This is the last film in the series in which the idea is that the tall man exists in a type of illusionary world which only psychic people can sense, and that everyone else simply sees a normal funeral director and is oblivious to what is really going on.
The grave that Michael is digging up when Reggie confronts him is marked Grant. This is a reference to the old joke, who's buried in Grant's tomb? Only in this instance, the grave was empty.
So, no one was the answer. All right, now just a side note on 19, the one that I read last beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that last week we had brought up that in one of the subsequent sequels...
No, not last week.
Not last week, last time, when we did the first one.
When we did Phantasm
I brought up that at some point in the future, we had accidentally spoiled for ourselves and everyone else that he is the other universe. That right. He is the Red Planet. Which means it did not come up in this movie.
And this one's claiming that this is the last one with it. So
preemptively, grave mistake. Well, probably.
One of them has to be false.
Right.
Either that or this. I'm hoping this.
I'm hoping this because that's silly.
Yeah. Anywho. And people could have very easily meant Phantasm 3 and went to the Phantasm 2 to put their little factoid. It's easy enough to do. Now, the website called Rotten Tomatoes,
yes,
the way it's supposed to work is the professional critics
all that have reviewed a movie get put in and averaged as, or gets labeled as positive or negative, and then they give you the percent of positive reviews. And people can go on and vote positive or negative, and they give that number also. So, the professional critics have this movie at
a 38%.
Only 38% of them thought it was worth anything. And 57% of the people, which means, it's close to fresh at like 62
60,
or something
60.
like that. Is it 60? I thought it was like 62.
I think it used to be 63 or 4, but...
No, I think it's like 61 or 2 anyway, I think. I'm not 100% sure, and it doesn't really matter. The point is, both numbers are low in our opinion.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that in a minute. What was your least favorite scene? Since I know you like this, we'll go with the least.
Okay, so that's really rough. Give me a second. Like, I didn't have this one already.
Yeah, it's not like you knew we were coming into film.
Okay, so right near the beginning of the movie, okay, the house explodes and like an army of these Jawa creatures come in and they're attacking, and then basically like 15 minutes later, after that's all said and done, the kid goes to the stepdad and he's like, hey, I'm planning on going on a murder revenge mission because that guy keeps like messing with us, and I'd like to unmess with us with that stuff.
And he keeps having dreams of a girl that was being messed with.
Something's happening with this girl in my dreams. He keeps showing up and messing with us. And it keeps happening to both of us. I need your help. Road trip. And dude says, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. And your claim that a bunch of midgets came and attacked us and that I blew up the house to protect ourselves makes no sense. So I'm not going to help you.
Even though it starts with showing that. Yeah. All right. I can see that. I would say my least favorite thing was probably,
Right.
Right. I mean, I really did enjoy this movie. But I'm going to say it was probably the fact that, they didn't get the original kid back because everyone else was the same actor and actress. It was the only time.
They got everybody.
Like, they got everybody back but the kid, and that kind of stinks. Like, I get that they wouldn't have been able to have that guy play himself for the scene that was, like, just after the first
9 years
one.
later.
But, it was 9 years later, and that actor was 9 years older. It should have worked out fine. It would have been nice if he had been in it.
Yeah, I get that.
What's your favorite scene?
Okay. So, I mentioned it earlier.
There's a few.
In one of the facts, where the gold ball, I think it is, that flies through multiple doors and then kills the guy, and it goes into his back, and then it's like moving around in him from front to back, like pushing on his skin, and then it comes out of his mouth and it gets stuck in his head, and it's just like drilling and spewing blood. And it was a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Okay. And I'm going to say, there's some pretty good stuff. What was the thing that I was saying too?
Necklace.
Oh, yeah. It's showed it a little bit in the trailer, but a priest decides he's going to try to confront the tall man, and he's holding out his necklace with the cross like this, and the guy just like goes like this with his hands, and his necklace goes up and lifts him off the ground and starts choking him. And that's when he says the line about, you think you're going to heaven, you come to us, and then just had him drop in the middle of the floor. Didn't actually kill him, but
proved the point.
And, it looked pretty good considering it legit looked like a necklace was by itself holding him up in the air, And it was practical
that one was
effects,
legit because it looked good.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate this?
I think I gave the last one a 9, and it's not as good as the first one. So I'm going to say 8.
I'm going to go with an 8 myself because it is more of the same, but it isn't quite as good. So, yeah.
It is so much fun.
It really, really is.
It's just...
If you like the first one,
every
this one is
ridiculous
more of
thing
it.
from the last one, they got to do it, and it costed more.
So it got to look better.
Like, everything. I mean, it looked so good. I'm just...
All right.
Yes.
So 2 8s.
2 8s.
And I guess that's about it. Anything else you want to say about it before we
I mean,
do
just
the stuff?
what I do every time. Go watch this.
Then I guess now it's time to do the stuff.
Yeah. So you can watch this show on Fact TV channel 1082, Thursdays at 30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can like us on Facebook, and by us, I mean Fact TV and Gory Storytime. Each has their own page.
Yeah, you can go to Jiggly... No.
Go to the website.
You can go to the fact8.com website that they have stuff on.
Lots of stuff. And you can check me out on Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
I'm at Jiggly Fernbrain. I only tweet things that I find funny.
That
he says.
Usually out of context, unless the context makes it funnier.
Oh, no. By the way, it's no longer Twitter accounts, Dad.
X, yeah.
We are now
Anyway.
X.
And check out Gory Storytime's page or whatever channel on YouTube. Type in Gory Storytime. That'll come up, and so will Fact TV's. And if you give them both a like and a subscribe and
Comment,
notification bell and comment on them. Like,
throw a brick through a window or something, right?
Anything that helps it so that maybe more people will see it. The more interaction, the more people will see it. The more people see it, the more interaction. I would like to see this
money.
Go. And
I mean, we already get bucket loads of money,
right?
But like real money.
Anyway, so
until next time with another spooky interdimensional horror movie, I've been your host Jason.
I'm his father and his co-host Craig.
And sweet dreams.